Hi everyone, this is a continuation from yesterday's transmission where we are carrying on working through the levels from the divine masculine, divine feminine perspectives, from the divine mess to the divine alignment. So this is a more in-depth look. You could say it's the extended version of yesterday's, where we worked through the point of development where you become self-aware and then become aware of others around you and how interactions with each other affect each other. And this is, of course, when you take into a soul level, the same kind of learning of a developmental phase, but it's a spiritual developmental phase, as collectively we are moving into 5D relating, 5D living, heart-based living, soul-based relating, a whole different relating template, and the soul connections that are coming online now, twin flames being one of the templates, are the light bearers or the way showers for these kind of, the pioneers for these kind of relationships. So what we're going to do, we're going to work through various different layers of the process of coming together. So before we incarnate, we know that this is part of our soul purpose. This is what we're here to do. So there is this promise of coming together in your heart, in your soul. You know that you're coming together, and that you're working together on this as a unity. So that's where this first line comes into play. So down this these romance angel oracle cards represent the issue at hand, and each line represents the a different level of relating. So the first one we've got is very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. This is about the promise of coming together at the soul level, this knowing that you're coming together, and this promise that it's imminent. So it's always imminent because it's in process. So it's like the end goal. But the lesson and the learning comes around aligning to that, which is where they clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now comes in. It's about becoming clear that this is the path and that this is where you're going, and working through everything at the lower levels that's in the way of attaining that. Now, those things are in the way, are meant to be in the way because they're what you're meant to be working through. You're supposed to be working through these as part of transmuting it for your own soul experience, but also for the collective, as we shift the collective into a different way of relating, to a higher template of relating, to relating at soul and heart level. So you're doing your part for your own soul's journey, your own soul's experience, for your own genetic line, but also for the collective as we shift the world into a higher way of relating. So getting clear on aligning to that is really important, and then being really aware of everything that comes up that's in the way. When you align to something energetically, that's when suddenly, so your intention and your attention is on that goal. It's like tuning to that TV station. Then you suddenly become aware of everything that is blocking or in the way of that. So emotions might come up, situations might come up, and you gradually work through those by being aware of them, bringing your heart into it and addressing them and working through them until they're cleared. And that's the process. So the masculine side of that is, so the next vertical line across is from the Divine Masculine Confessions packed by Bridget Rau. So this is representing the masculine side of the story. And this spread today is about the current energies. We're halfway between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse, just before the solstice. So it's all about us shifting out everything that is not aligned to our higher timeline. So we have the masculine perspective, or the masculine side, and generally what this really means is it's more the side that is more their part of the story is more in the 3D mundane, the logical, the mental, the intention. Whereas the feminine, the next line across from the Divine Feminine Confessions, is more heart-based, intuitive, connected to the higher plan, and how that's expressed emotionally. So the masculine is more the practical action side, and often the runner, because less connected to the heart, more connected to the fear and the ego. And the feminine side is more loving and accepting, and understanding and emotional. So the next one there is the masculine next to the very soon card, saying, I promise I'm coming home, don't give up on me. So coming home means coming home to himself, coming home to the unity, coming home to the soul contract, coming home to the soul. So this can be the female or the male, or the female energy or the male energy. But it's more aligned to the masculine energy, the divine masculine energy. So there's always the promise, I'm coming home. So this is showing that he is still aligned to the promise. He's just working through his layers, and he doesn't necessarily understand them in the same way as the feminine energy does. So he's working at it from the logical side, the mental side, the ego side, but he's still working on it, and he's still holding that intention no matter what it looks like on the ground, no matter what he's showing to the world. And then the next one is the feminine perspective, which is, I can't say goodbye. I don't want to give up on you. I see you're special and rare. So I love the perfection of him saying, don't give up on me, be patient. And her saying, I don't want to give up on you. I can't even leave if I want to. I see you. And I see that you are my divine counterpart, really. So even if she is focusing on herself and carrying on doing what she needs to do, following her guidance, it doesn't mean that she's not energetically connected or aware or aligned to the higher purpose. So there's some light language that wants to come through around the first issue about the promise of coming together, and that feeling that it's always imminent and it could happen at any moment, no matter what it looks like on the ground. And then also the lower aspects of what comes up around that is the confusion about, why does it feel this way but it looks like nothing's happening, or what am I doing waiting for someone who's never coming, or why do I always feel like I'm being pressured to get there sooner than I'm ready, from the masculine perspective. So I see you. Is it just a cup of I'm seeing the purple rays, so purple energy coming in, higher psychic connection to the soul, seeing the unseen, seeing the plan. So I'm getting more of a sense of freedom coming in around the understanding of this and transformation. I'm seeing white butterflies, so coming into a more pure space around it, and acceptance and a peace. So it's kind of clearing that stalemate, and the guidance seems to be around living your highest joy. Both of you connecting to the frequency of joy, being in your joy-making space for joyful things in your life, will help to shift this stalemate. So the next level down, the next issue, is, so we can say that highest issue there, that was the soul level. We're now going down into the heart level, and the issue at hand is express your love, and it's reversed. It says go ahead and make the romantic gesture. So this is showing that there may be blockages around, and at a certain stage of these connections there are definitely blockages at the heart level, to really fully acknowledge the connection, to go with it, to accept it, and to be in a clear enough space to express it to each other and to come together. And so the masculine side of that is, I've been trying to get advice on what to do with our connection, but nobody understands it. This is just illustrating the point that the masculine is coming more from a head and an ego level. And I'm not talking about the male, I'm talking about the masculine side in all of us. And particularly one of the pair is usually more leaning to this side, more in their headspace and their patterning and their ego. The ego really is the patterning. It's made up of all of our past experiences that tries to keep us safe and keep us contained and limited, which is really working against the soul level. So it's illustrating that from the mind perspective, the logical perspective, the way that the masculine energy is dealing with this is looking outside of himself to try to get advice or input about something that nobody else can understand except him, because no one else is experiencing this unless they're also a twin flame or a soul connection. But even then, everyone's on their own journey. So what needs to happen there is for the masculine to look inside and work through what comes up for him when he connects, or when he tries to disconnect, or what emotions come up, what thoughts come up, how he feels in his body when he tries to leave or run, or when he has a desire to come back together, or when he feels these unexplainable things that don't make logical sense. It's about busting out of that logical side and feeling from the heart level, and shifting the focus back to self and heart, not to advice from others who are coming generally from a lower perspective, or just a perspective that's not really based on the higher template, but on the lower template on the re-derelating. The feminine side is beautiful disaster. That's what we are. And that's just expressing that. It's expressing an acceptance of the fact that it's messy at this level. If you're taking into account the higher plan and you're trying to work that out through all your lower aspects, all the experiences, all the genetics, all the past life connections, all the things that are playing out, and not just in herself but also in her masculine, and working like mirrors for each other to reflect up those issues for clearing, because that's what we're doing. We're bringing them up to the surface to clear them as they're presented by being aligned to the end goal. So you're tuned to that that station of coming together, and by doing that, everything in the way is coming up. So everything at the emotional level coming up is pretty big, and it can be pretty messy playing out. And the guidance here is to be really loving and understanding with yourself and with your counterpart about the fact that this is playing out, and it's not very pleasant. At times it can be hurtful, it can bring up all sorts of emotions and anger, and taking that inner and working with it and saying, why is this coming up for me? Getting healing, recognizing where it's coming from. Meanwhile, having compassion for your counterpart about the fact that they're not only dealing with your reaction, but they're having their own. And the more you can be gentle and loving with each other about the fact that you're together in this and you're working through it as a team. So being clear about, well, I'm feeling this way. I understand it's not your fault, it's just being triggered in me. But when you do that, this is what it triggers and why. And encouraging the same from them. So it's getting authentic and clear at the emotional level. So then at the base level, this is the human level, the physical level, the personality level. The issue at hand is called honeymoon, and it's enjoying the bliss of holiday time together. So that's being joyfully together, spending quality time without all of your other responsibilities and things that you've left behind for this dedicated time, physically spending time together, quality time, getting to know each other, physically touching, etc. So what happens before you get to that stage, because this is a soul connection, it comes from the top down, is that you have a period, maybe months, maybe years, of not being able to physically spend time together, either because you're in other relationships, or because you're physically at a distance from each other, or because you keep running. You want to, but then you don't want to, and all those issues are playing out, and you feel like you can't, it's scary, or there's stuff comes up and you just can't do it. And so the masculine side of that, how he copes with the lack of physical contact and the lack of getting that base level, getting to know each other, that in the traditional templates of connecting is stage one, is that he speaks to you from his mind. He's constantly thinking of you, he's talking to you, he's expressing everything he feels and desires as if you're there. Remember, he's connecting to this from a logical, masculine way of relating, and so his way of not, when he can't touch you and can't be in your presence and can't get to know you at that level, he's telepathically communicating, he's thinking of you, he's talking to you. And for the feminine side, she feels him. she hears him, she's receiving him. So it's interesting. Again, the masculine is all about the doing or the giving out, and the feminine is the receptive one, the receiving. I receive you, I hear your voice, I feel your breath in my ear. The feeling of I can feel your body. The feeling of your body does things to me I can't even explain. And again, it's that can't explain, nobody understands. And it is extremely tangible. When you're in these soul connections, it is almost more intense than if you are physically together in the physical form. And it's your soul's connecting, your heart's connecting, and it's really tangible. And I've got to say, the 5D experiences of visitations from the light body of the other is so extremely profound. And it's almost like the whoosh that I spoke about in the previous reading that's connected to this one, the preliminary one for this reading, is that that 5D communication and connection affects you right through every cell of your body and through your bones. It affects you spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And the period of separation is very much about honing those skills and learning those boundaries and learning to really listen to, hear, and to feeling each other on the other levels. Which means that when you physically do come together, it's a whole different way of relating. And this is important because this is learning those levels. It's important to learn those levels first. And there may be occasionally some coming together at the physical levels. You'll often be blown apart again because you're not ready to come together until all of those other pieces are in place, until you've learned all of that. And then the physical coming together is the whoosh. It's like from the heavens all the way down. So there can be a coming together, a pulling apart, a coming together, pulling apart, until all that's in place, and then the coming together becomes permanent. But it becomes an incredible unity. So there can often be a lot of impatience and emotions coming up as boundaries are crossed or boundaries are being felt out. But if you understand that the boundaries are being felt out, and they're being felt out at multiple levels, a lot of them intangible, a lot of them that you don't really understand, you might start to feel anger or resistance to the other for no logical reason. But you can bet that it's something you're picking up on the other levels. And it's really telling you now is not the time. But it is important to carry on working through those intangible levels. You're always working together. So moving up to the next part of the reading, this is more that was all about the understanding. We're now moving to the healing part and the guidance and the outcome. So number 17 of the Dianna Cooper Orb cards is Archangel Raphael and Michael with Isis. And this is about aligning again to your soul gifts and your soul knowing from the multidimensional levels and all the past lives and all the gifts you've gained and the knowing you've gained, all the wisdom that you know, and also bringing that into yourself and using it to heal during this process, to heal your counterpart and yourself. And the Archangel Zadkiel's Violet Flame is helping you to transmute everything that is not that. So we'll do some healing for that, and that those are around the guidance of standing your ground in your knowing. So you're connecting to who you are at the higher levels, who you are at a soul level, what your soul purpose is, standing strong in that, not being swayed by other people's beliefs or opinions or misunderstandings, because they cannot understand this. They cannot understand what you're going through. Other twins or other soul connections, other light workers on the same path have some understanding, but they don't have the understanding you have, because the blueprint is embedded in your heart, it's embedded in your soul. You have the access to that. So this is helping you access that, stand strong in it. And where it says choose your battles wisely, that's about not getting involved in the lower, just the drama, the playing out. Observe the playing out. Use it to understand why you're being triggered, to understand that that's what you're working through, that's what you're mastering, because that's what your soul connection is about mastering. That's what you're here to master. That's what you're here to transmute for yourself and for the collective and for the evolution of soul relationships of the planet, moving to the heart level and the soul level. And through aligning to that, transmuting the lower through these two orb energies that we're going to bring in, the outcome is then the Knight of Water, which is falling in love. So this is at the personality, physical level. It brings it down to the physical level of coming together. The Knight of Water is the moving forward, making the proposal in terms of let's do this with balanced emotions, genuine moving forward, genuine offer, coming together, having cleared everything that's in the way. So I see that as, it's usually representative of the masculine coming forward, but because he's the action-oriented one, but I see it as the relationship moving forward, having cleared everything in the way and moving into physical reality, physical reunion. And I do believe this is all aligned to the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, and the solstice, all within the next, which we're right in the middle of all of those now. So here's the light language coming through. This is Archangel Raphael, Michael, and Isis.
po. Ikata ko tapo to ko to ko to taka 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 to ko chipaka tapo to taka chipoko to. Ikata taka taka to ko to taka taka to ko to taka taka to. Ikata taka chipoko to taka taka to ko to sko to taka to ko. Ikata chapa sakata taka to ko to ko. Ikata taka to ko to chipaka sakata po. Ikatapakata kapata toko 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 sakapata po. Ikatapata kapata 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 katapo toko toko chapakata sakata po. Ikatakata kata toko 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 kapata kata kachupo sakapata toko toko sakata po. Istaka chabata kata toko 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 chapata kata kapata toko toko tita kapata toko kata. Ikachesa kata toko chipata kata toko po. Ise chakasata pakata pataka chukupasaka toko chobata sakapata. Ise chakapata kapata chubusaka chubusaka. Ikachesa kapata katuko. Ise chakapata kapata toko. Akachesa pataka po. Ikachapata kapata po. Ikachesa pataka to. Ikachesa pataka pataka. Ikachapata skata patoko chubo. Ikiti pataka chubo. Isa chakapataka Isa chakapataka Isa chakapataka Isa chakata pasata kapataka toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chokopasa kapataka toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopokataka sakapoto. Isa chasa kapataka toko chasa kapataka toko chopasa toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopasa toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopasa toko chopasa toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopasa toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopasa toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko Isa chakapataka toko chopasa toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko chakapataka joko taka chupo. Isa taka toko chopo taka. Ika taka satapataka chupo toko chopo. Ika chopo taka chupo. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopo. Isa chasa kapataka toko chopo. Isa chasa pataka toko. Isa chasa kapataka toko. Isa chasa kapataka Isa chasa kapataka Isa chasa kapataka Isa chakapataka pasata kapataka chapakasa po. Isa chakapasata kapataka Ikapa apa toko oto sakapataka akaputoko o istakapa atoboko osotopopo Isitakapaka tapo o itakapasa takapacha paka taboko sotokopataka patipoko ikatakapo sotokopacha sakatapotokopotopoti tapakatakatapotoko sotokopatakapotokopotopo isitakapacha sabatakapotokopotokopatakachapasokotopotokatakasapotoko isichasatakatakapotoko sotopotokotipatacha sakapotokopotokapotokopotoko isichasapatakatakapotokopotokopotokopotokopotokopotokata isichasakapatakapotokopotokopatakasapotokopotokapata Ikatakata Isataka Isataka Itapaka. I'm feeling the trying from that action-oriented masculine energy within all of us, the trying to make something happen, or the trying, working to release that so that it's more of an aligning or an attuning to the higher timeline, to the soul knowing, and then working through what comes up. And then the action you take is divinely inspired. You can feel when it's time to move, when it's time to stay, when it's time to go inner, when it's time to go outer. It becomes tangible to you because you're attuned to that higher station. You know when in physical reality, or even at heart level, to step in, step out, step forward, step back. So you're navigating from your higher knowing and your higher connection. And by this stage, you've now really moving as one being with your counterpart. So you find that you're in synchronicity as one being, essentially, not so much pushing against each other, but in a fluid movement of oneness, because you're connected to the higher aspects of yourself, which at the higher aspects you are one. Okay, just feeling that golden elixir moving down your spine. Feel it vibrating and energizing and bringing the divine wisdom, the codes on how to do this. Inakoko. I love that she's riding a golden and multicolored dragon. Ikatoko, and which is spirit. And he is riding, looks like dolphin. The dolphins carry you across the rainbow bridge higher into the multidimensional. They bring in joy and love, and he's riding that, having cleared any of the blockages to that. And it's beautiful. I can feel the unity of the dragon and the dolphin riding on the same purpose towards each other. Ikanoko, and I can really feel the rainbow energy, the multi-dimensional traveling and harmonizing. Ina okoto, and I'm being taken to the word soon. So this is imminent. Akacha oto ko, and I'm seeing them presenting the pink rose of genuine, unconditional love. Ina ko o, and they're giving their blessings and saying goodbye. Okay, so that is a healing, so make sure you rest, open up to receive it, give yourself time to integrate, be kind to yourself, drink lots of water. This is an example of an extended reading that I'm going to start doing. It's a lot longer than the usual ones. I'll still be doing the usual ones. It's just sometimes they're going to connect to an extended one, which I will probably put on Vimeo as an option for you to carry on, go into more depth if you would like. So the preliminary one that this extended is connected to, I will link below. And take care. Blessings, everyone.